Hey guys, how you doing? It's Voodoo here and welcome to episode 52 in my Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Emblem editor series. Today we're taking a look at the Halo 4 logo, which I'm really pleased with. Looks absolutely awesome, a lot of nice detail on there. Quite a long video this one, because if you want to get all the detail on there, that's quite sort of in depth. But if you just want the basic Halo 4 logo, you can do that without adding all the extras as well. Really simple. It looks really cool on the player card. Sort of got a lens flare on there as well. Looks really cool. So what you're going to need for the background is you're going to need a square of any description really. Max it out like across the sides. You can leave a gap at the top. I prefer that. And go from there. Grab yourself a circle. You want to oval that down. And we're going to turn that a shade of blue. Now I do change the shade of blue at the end. I had quite a light shade at the beginning, didn't particularly like it on the gun, so I came back in at the end and I changed the logo sort of colour, so that's what I did. Anyway, copy and pasted that oval and then just laid it over the top and made it black. Then grab yourself a half heart and you want to free scale that down. And what we want to do is we want to have a nice sort of angled bit at the top part of the oval, and we want a square edge at the bottom right part of the half heart. That's what we're going to do. We're going to cut them bits off. So that's relatively straightforward. Turn it black, and that's sort of now the beginnings of the Halo sign. And that I just sort of slightly tweaking the size of that oval and all that business, just get it just exactly how I want it. Obviously get sort of used to the free scaling aspect of that, and that'll help you out a lot in these emblems. So what we're going to do is now we're going to grab one of these items, which is a flashlight. Now we're going to do again, you're going to free scale it. I think I have to make the background slightly bigger because it wasn't big enough to get this flashlight just right. But I wanted to make it as big as I could to get you want the angle sort of cutting off the edge. It doesn't want to take all of the edge off, but you just got to sort of do half of that blue part needs to be cut off by the flashlight. And it's very sort of straightforward. Then you just want to up that sort of background a little bit just to hide the edge of the flashlight. Now then, what you want to do then after that is you want to grab yourself a scoop. Now I haven't used many of these scoops considering they're quite an actual handy sort of thing. We'll get to the scoop eventually. There we go. Anyway, grab yourself a scoop. You want to sort of go with the flow of the actual oval, and you'll turn that black, and then that'll be a nice sort of curvature of the oval just to finish that little bit off there and look really cool. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same sort of thing again up on the top left hand part of the background. Grab yourself a flashlight, free scale it down. We're going to like get it a bit smaller. Turn it black so it blends in with the background, and also it's going to sort of cut off just exactly the same as the bottom bit. As always guys, feel free to check out my other 51 emblems. The link is in the description of the playlist. It's got a lot of cool emblems on there. You guys love that. We're doing the same with the scoop here, as I said. A lot of you guys love it. Please feel free to check that out first before you ask for me to make an emblem, because there's lots on there and people still ask me for emblems. I've already done. It's pretty spectacular. Anyway, getting back to the emblem, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit on the right hand side. It's a little bit of extra detail. What you want to do is you want to grab yourself a kiss, and what we're going to do is they're very useful kisses. I use them on very useful kisses. I use them on many emblems. Really handy sort of thing to use. You can free scale it really well. Free scale it down so it adds a sort of curve coming off the oval. Then grab yourself anything that is square, and we're going to free scale that down, and then that's going to be sort of like the little bit that comes off the right hand side of the oval. Obviously if you really like this emblem or any of my other emblems and you want to give me a like, feel free. I really do appreciate it. Every single like puts a nice smile on my face, and it's nice that I've come back after my 2-week creative break to get a little bit of support. So a lot of you guys were questioning, are you coming back and making emblems? Of course I am, not going anywhere. Just need a little break every now and then just to sort of get the creative juices flowing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make the 4 part of the Halo 4, and I've grabbed a diamond. You have to free scale it slightly and get it sort of like in the right sort of shape, and then you want to put 2 back to back. then copy and paste another one, make it smaller, and you're going to use 2 just at the bottom there, just to leave a gap, because there's a gap in the 4. So you basically use 4 diamonds on that little section there just to make that. Then grab anything that's rectangular, and you need to freescale it, make it relatively long, and the right hand side of that rectangular thing needs to be in line with the pointy part at the top of the 4, so it all runs in nicely. Now the 4 is a slightly darker shade than the actual background oval, that's how it should be. Even when I change the background colour at the end of the video, it's still slightly darker. So just to make the end of the 4 look really cool, grabbed another flashlight and freescaled that. Just took a lot of faffing and farting about, as you can see, but we got it sort of just how I want it to be. It needs to have a little bit of an angle on the left hand part of that, but it looks nice and just overlaps onto the oval just nicely. So what we're going to do is, that's sort of like the base layer of the actual that Halo 4, you can leave it at that. But if you want to take it up to the next level, what we're going to do is we're going to add a lot of extra detail here. So I went down to the base layer, copy and pasted the base oval, brought it up to the top, pasted it, took it back down just to 1 above the original oval, turned it white and dropped the opacity. Eventually I drop it down to 16% on there. Now you just want to make it slightly smaller and slightly off center, so it sort of covers a bit of it and it looks really cool. And then what we're going to do is copy and paste the top part of the 4, the diamond we did there, put it behind the top diamond and then turn it black, make it slightly bigger, and it adds a shading effect on the top of that oval. And the same with the bottom there with the flashlight. Just adding these little bits of detail makes the world of difference. It's certainly well worth doing. So what we're going to do is here we're going to add some sort of lighting and shading effects sort of like on the 4, and we grabbed anything sort of rectangular. You can freescale it down and put it on the edges across the right and the top, and what the opacity on them eventually ends up at, let's have a look here, 10% is what they end up as. So don't take what they are now, just set them straight to 10%, because that's where I've put them. And I did a lot of messing around and playing with these opacity settings. So then I grabbed myself a scribble, laid that sort of on the edge of the floor, of the 4, and we're going to sort of make a lens flare effect on here, which is a pretty cool thing. You can do this with lots of things. Grab yourself an M, and then you want to make that really sort of squashed and long, and sort of adds this sort of blurry, long sort of lens flary sort of look. And basically what I did with that is I left that white, and the opacity on that I dropped down to 35% in the end, and just sort of brought it in so it doesn't go off the screen, that it just sort of like ends towards the edges of the screen sort of thing. So that's the beginnings of some detail put on there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some detail on the top part of the 4. Again, grab anything rectangular, freescale it down, and then what you're going to do is you're going to drop the opacity. Eventually the opacity on that one drops down to 10% as well, and then we're going to fill in the edges at the top and bottom with a triangle, and you're going to have to freescale that down as well, just sort of get them just the right sort of shapes and drop them in at the top part there, and also at the bottom bit as well. I had a lot of hassle with this bit, I have to say. I was trying all different things to get this just right, but it took quite a while, and eventually this was the easiest way that I could show you guys how to do it. Obviously also with all the colours and that, it is sort of like the Halo colours, but if you've got your own colours that you want to use, feel free to change it around, do what you want with it. It's just sort of like a template for you guys to get this looking the way you want it, really. And I like to go down the original route, really. That's the way I go. But what we're going to do here is we're going to add some more detail on the bottom part of the 4 to match sort of like the top half. And I copy and pasted the diamond that was already sort of like there, then turned it white, dropped the opacity down to 10% again on that, and then grabbed another one and laid it underneath so the angle sort of like looks just right. And then what we're going to have to do is we're going to fill in the gaps and that towards the end of the 4. So basically copy and pasted the flashlight that we did there and lay that on top and turned it white, and the flashlight opacity again is 10%, and obviously that then brings the shininess of the right hand side, them square bits, they are also sort of brightened up because you've laid a white underneath it. So then what we do across the base there, you can see I copy and pasted that rectangle, and I'm going to bring that down the layers so it lays behind the blue diamond. So otherwise, because if you don't do that, the actual rectangle will overlap over the diamonds you've got on the left, the white diamonds, and that'll look stupid. So you have to bring that down the layers a little bit to go behind the blue diamond of the base layer. Sort of a little bit confusing, but you can see on the video that's not too bad. And then that adds a sort of lighter shade across that sort of half of the floor, and it looks absolutely awesome. So I really think that looks nice. So what I'm doing here, I'm just fiddling around with all the opacities, dropping them down to where I've already told you. Anything that's over the top of the image is at 10% opacity, that's white, to add the shading effect, apart from the lens flare M, which is 35. Also, you've got your the little sort of scribble I did was 41% opacity as well, but all the main sort of overlapping shading bits are at 10%. Looks really cool. I really like this emblem, guys. I'm a big fan of Halo 4, even if I don't get time to play it very much, but I love the look at it. It looks really cool. Here you can see I'm just changing the colours of the background just to sort of change it, because I didn't like the way it looked on the gun with the lighter blues, and I preferred it with a slightly darker blues, but it's up to you what colours you do, as I've said. But as always, guys, thanks ever so much for watching. Please don't forget to rate, comment and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Leave your comments and that in the description, and I shall see you later.